My full name is Noa Simhayof Shahaf. I come from Israel. I live in Tel Aviv. I'm 28. I'm a visual artist, mostly based on video, moving image. I'm a video editor and a photographer for other artists, and I'm also teaching kids art. I'm in Krakow now because I was invited through Mariusz Soltecki to exhibit a dual show with Yaakov Hefetz, which is also an Israel artist, but from another generation. He's older than me. And yeah, so I came for almost a month to create, I created most of the works to this exhibition here in Krakow. It was important to me to, kind of be in those times and not bringing something not connected. And also, it was an opportunity to kind of responding to these times of, what's happening in Israel and Palestine. And all of the project is really about how does it make me think and feel. So it was interesting to kind of put it in another location, which is here in Poland, and to see how it works. For me, it started through discovering movement, dancing movement, through dancing classes, which I took in a really young age, but it was a moment of changing for me, where I started to study a specific movement that's called, from a specific choreographer. And this movement was really about seeing the body as water. And through this, I kind of changed my whole perspective of okay, my body can do many things that I didn't know. And it really opened a whole creative aspect in my mind, and also opened some, boundaries that I had through gender thinking and all of that, because it really opened me as a creature, I feel like. And through this movement period, I also started photographing mainly people. I was thinking that I had this thinking of being a portrait photographer, so I did this for a long time. Then I started working in a really young age in parties, to shoot in parties. And I think from that moment, they're both kind of dissolve into each other, and movement and photography kind of created this started this adventure in art, as you asked. But at a certain moment, I stopped dancing, and I figured out that I need to kind of travel in the world. So I did this with a camera, and it really opened me into this artistic point of view. And I think in a paradox, seeing myself as an artist and understanding that this is what I should do is through failure. Through failing in being the best dancer and being the best photographer, I understood that art is actually what is interesting for me to do. I started my degree, my BA, as a photographer, as I said. I came to the auditions with only portfolio of images. And I think through this process of being an art student and, getting a lot of things that people say about your work, it really helped me to understand that actually this is not what's interesting for me. And then the dancing kind of got in again. What's interesting for me is the movement, is things that can change. And
in action somehow,
yeah. And the stills photo kind of really got me in the same place. So when I did that for such a long time, and then I remembered the things that I felt through movement. I understood, oh, okay, so maybe moving image is actually what is the most interesting for me. And I started to do a lot of videos, like a lot, and it was really good, like, because by now I did like maybe 20 movies, like short movies, and I feel like, because I'm in my beginning as an artist, and I'm a young artist, let's say, it's kind of gave me a lot of opportunity to see the wrong things, or the kind of the things that I need to do differently. But yeah, so this is like kind of how, like, the medium that I started with. But then in regards to like exhibiting and like my place in the scene, it started kind of really fast through queer movement that we have in Tel Aviv, and they kind of like posted an open call, and I exhibited with them when I was in my second year, and then it kind of opened to me like this whole scene of exhibiting as a student, because exhibiting as a student is something that you don't do, and people kind of opened their eyes about me, like, why do you exhibit? Yeah, it was like kind of not regular.
Yeah, so you as a student, they are not exhibiting, like,
yeah,
before they graduate?
In first year, second year, third year, no. Only like last year you kind of start to, yeah, so.
But it's not like you can't do that, yeah?
So kind of it was weird that I remember someone came to me and asked me about this exhibition that I was taking part in, and she told me, like, in our agreement in this school, we're not allowed to exhibit as students. And I was like kind of shocked, but I didn't do anything about it. But it was kind of a rumor, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's different.
I think like my first answer would be like, of course, like I have so many things that I think that I'm alone in. But when I think about it more, I think we share so much similarities as human beings, and I feel like, of course, I have those spots when I am alone in my thoughts, in my feelings, but I think a lot of people have those, and I can't, like, the sad thing about humanity is like, communication. Like, how can you reach someone's pain or thought or feeling or thinking? It's really hard, especially if you're not that close to them or something. So I feel like, yeah, I'm alone, but I'm also together with a lot of people. First thing that I start with is a kind of always is a fact, like some document, something that actually is a known phenomena or a piece of history or some testimonies, something that it's a documentary kind of a piece. So this is what I start with, and then I kind of as an editor I kind of like to twist it and to manipulate it in order to create another story, and in order to create a small world that things kind of have a clash inside. So you have the truth, but you also have my truth, which is not the general truth. And I think my initiation about it is like the need to tell stories differently and to kind of like twist like the way we see the reality. Like I think that reality is kind of the trigger. Like, okay, what is reality? Like if we had a lot of conversations about like how do you call it? Like beliefs, but they are not true. They are not particularly true. Like this wall that we were in the castle.
Chakra.
Yeah.
Babel chakra.
Yeah. So those kinds of things are interesting for me the most, because they have in themselves all of the things. They have the truth, they have the non-truth, which is the fiction, and they can allow me to kind of, it's like material. It's like you can smash it and build with it and like create with it something completely new. This is the goal, to create something new. But in this world of like post modernity and whatever, we have so many things, so it's always like a challenge, and it's always very, very hard to create something new. But the initiation, the drive is to create another history, like to take history and to duplicate it to something else.
Okay, so like you said, like about things that are not particularly true, but not particularly not true. So it's like, but it's no. So there are not true somehow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say. Okay.
It depends how you see truth.
Yeah.
Also.
And
or
sorry
what?
for that, but I want to ask you about that. Yeah. So okay, I understand. Like for you, this is like maybe strange, but it's not really true. So where is like reality? Let's say like real. What is like truth? Like objective, or maybe you don't believe in objective truth. Everything is subjective.
I think everything is subjective, obviously, but although I am like a believer in books and history, and like the way history kind of written, obviously is very subjective also. It's very connected to white men, Western white men, but I think those years, like the history kind of, we have the ability to see history from different perspectives, because more and more people from like people of color, or people that are not this like white men that we are regular to, are starting to write and to create, and I think that you can really see and observe yourself, your own belief of history. And for example, I take my facts and my truth from my surroundings. So let's say in the movie that I did now for this exhibition, I took the first thing that was created, let's say, was the testimonies of ex-soldiers that like Israeli soldiers that kind of like that have been written in and been archived in this NGO in Israel that called Shofrim Shtika. So and kind of from those texts I started this work, and I started to rewritten them, to kind of edit them, to take the sentences that I see in them something. And it's always like it's not to judge it, and it's not to like to make fun about it. It's not. It's about taking this sad or tragediot, like tragic moments, and to see if I can search for some light inside, and for some hope, and yeah.
That's nice. So like you have some purpose to like give a light, a hope, like with your artworks, yes?
Yeah, I think so. Like not in a way of like total blind, optimistic, nihilistic vision, but in a way of like, okay, let's just it's like photography. It's like just to move a bit the camera to the side, and not to. So it gives something, but it's not that my art is saying like this is the better way and you should do this. No, it's just uplifting and uploading some questions, and some putting the light about something else maybe. I think obviously freedom exists only because we have rules. Because if we would not have rules, how freedom can be, like for me it's completely connected. So obviously I have both of them in my work and in the practice itself, like all the time, like, okay, this is my agenda, this is the things that I do, but let's try to do it a bit like this and a bit like this, because also you get bored, like you can't really, you know, it's different maybe in the personal life. Like I was trying to say something about, you know, getting up in the morning and doing the same thing, but it's actually not so similar, because, you know, I can get up every morning and doing the same thing, but the body kind of, for me, I think that the body kind of invent new ways of performance. So it's not that each time that I get up and brush my teeth, I do it in the same way. I don't. Each time it's like a bit different. So also in practice, like, and in regards to cinema and like what I do, which is experimental cinema, it's all about taking the rules of cinema, of the cult, you know, and kind of all the time twist it to another direction. And in each work, I think I kind of obsessed about another phenomena and take it to other direction. And in this project, I kind of focused on documentary. So it was like kind of to tell a story, but in a completely different way. Okay, so I think it's a completely mess, like what is happening in regards to like this technological developments in art, especially. But if we go outside of art, I see it as a kind of, you know, kind of thing that can compare to religion somehow. Like it's like this big thing that is developing so widely, and you know it has so many abilities, and it's like almost shining. It's almost like, wow, you like, for me, the, let's say, the facts that I'm seeing in news and articles and stuff, it's really like I'm kind of obsessed about like those developments, and you know, robotic developments, and how like what we saw 10 years ago in cinema about sci-fi movies creating, you know, this visual robotic people. So now we actually kind of have them, and in Japan, and you know, so it's just a matter of time to me until this vision will be accomplished also in like real life. And if we go back to art, I see it as a kind of a problem, obviously, because it's like, for example, as a video editor, so I have those thriving AIs that can completely take my job. Like I saw yesterday a reel on Instagram about a new plugin that you can put in Premiere, and it can completely edit your timeline in like few minutes. Like generate some general like edit multicam, and it got me really scared, honestly. I really hate to see art that use AIs like as the main thing, because I think to kind of comment about things in life, you need some perspective, and you need to have a lot of different, you know, people or phenomena that can comment about it before you can really establish some statement. So to now take it, and you know, it's like kind of after the corona virus, so people who created projects surround about it, it was like kind of not interesting, because it was too close to this like tragic. So I really not enjoying seeing it, but you know, sometimes can be surprises. Like I've seen a Pierre Wig exhibition in Venice now, and he uses AIs all the time. He uses AIs for 10 years already, and he did phenomenal work with it. But it was because it's not about it. It's not about the AI. It's like using it as, you know, as colors, as structure. So this is when it's interesting for me.
But it's also you are thinking about the AI as a tool for your in your art practice, or you are just not wanting just.
I use some AIs in my work, but really just not in the main character of the practice. It's really like to help me understand, or to help me with text, or for translations, but not as a visual tool. I don't use it as a visual tool. I'm not blocking it away, but I feel like I'm not in this area of it's not that interesting for me to use it by now, but I don't know, maybe it will change.
And you are thinking about like you need to learn some of these tools because the world are like walking in that direction, or it's not, it's
I think I'm starting to learn those methods with some AIs, because I think I want to know. I just want to know what is it exactly, and I'm not against learning. I love learning, so but it doesn't mean I will use it. It means I will know more about it, and maybe can even comment about it in my work theoretically, but not like use it directly. I think I would say that I like most of the times in exhibitions that I go, I like to make around and then to read. So I kind of like not to understand and to observe, and then to understand more through the theoretical point of view. I really like texts of art. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I really like them. I like to know something else about, like, those facts that the artist used, the practice maybe. And I think good art is always, it has something that you don't understand. Like it has some area, like a gray area that you understand some of it, but some of it it's out of reach. It's like maybe this metaphysics goals that actually you bring something that is like not connected to reality. It's like a bit from the outside. So I think the most important thing that I learned like recently is that you always need to do something more than 5 times. Like in a journey, or in a process of creating an artwork, you always think that you should do something. So actually do it. It's a good way. Like you should try and physically do the stuff, but when you come back, you will always understand that you need to do it one more time and one more time. You always kind of need to change a bit of what you did, and I think this is what I learned, and it's really, really interesting and helpful, and you can really, feel something that the something that you do in your studio is really like getting somewhere, and it's not like, okay, I did it, next. No, it's like an ongoing process. So it means that you should work a lot, and it's like also time consuming, but I think it's really important for us to create something that is actually saying something. And
yeah, like where should we look for hope?
I would say
nowadays.
I would say listening, like kind of to listen to the things. It's also connected to the last question about like doing and doing again, like because you need to listen takes time. So you can't, and it's also time connected. You can't listen to some stuff or things that happened in this time, but actually one day or another you can listen to them and they will appear to you. So I think always be open to listening, and it can really like tell things, and yeah, I think it can contain some hope. I want to believe in, yeah.
Okay. So you are like seeing future in the optimistic colors? Right.
No, I also see, you know, I come from a violent place, so I also have a lot of negative things to say about life and art, and you know, but I'm in this place in my life that I kind of put all my needs and wanting and, you know, desire in the art, so it kind of makes me feel optimistic, because it's something that I give and it gives back. So I really believe in art to kind of create something, you know, better than the reality without art. Like I think art is really, really important, and it's not just there. It's like it has history and it has a purpose, and it has also a moment now that we can change it. Like maybe we can't see it now, but I think it's changing.
So like with the art, we can somehow like change the world to be a better place?
No, I don't think like that. I think the art just can change the way people think. So the way people think can change maybe the world, but you know, it's not directly that art can change the world, but like art gives a really fat layer of thinking, of new thinking, of thinking that is not connected to, you know, the day-to-day working class life. For me, staying here in Wyspiański's studio was really interesting, and it gave me like a place to kind of work on the project that I did here. I don't know much of his work because it's all in Polish, and I didn't have the time to read some of the translations, but I think that when you stay somewhere, you can feel the energy of the things that happened in the past. So I really felt a lot of, you know, big energy. I don't know like how to explain it more, but and it was like a real honor to me to stay in one of those places. And general about Krakow, like it's not my first time, and I felt really like it was for me Krakow is a really good place to work, to concentrate about one thing, because it's a convenient place. It's also kind of small, so you can kind of manipulate and do lots of stuff. And my friends here have helped me a lot, and it was really good. And about the project and about the exhibition, so the exhibition opened on Friday evening, the 10th of May, and it will be there until the 20th of May in Opcja Gallery, in the Intermedia faculty in Berka Street. And the exhibition Sea Level is like, for me it was like a completely crazy process, and with Mariusz and Yakov, and we kind of captured this like specific time when everything is really going down in my country, and like the first meeting with Yakov, which is the other artist, for me, we came and we kind of wanted to share like what we thought to do. and we both came with he's older and he came with existed works. So he came with this work when he painted his hands black and together with some police officers cleaning his gun. And I came with a sketch of a 3D gun kind of floating in space, and it was kind of shocking that we both wanted to talk about guns specifically. And yeah, for me, this project, this is how it started. It started with like shedding some light about this like tool that we see all the time in Israel, and we kind of traumatized by it. And I wanted to talk about it as kind of a human being, and this is what the project kind of do. It gives like a personality to this gun specifically, M16. And yeah, what else?
That's all. Maybe say goodbye or something. I don't know. That's all.
Thank you.